Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to give the other participants another minute or two to join. And then as soon as 2 minutes have gone by, we'll get started with the presentation. Okay, it's 4:02, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I see a few have already joined, and I'm pretty sure the rest will join us. We go through the next slides. So today we are going to be presenting on a new statewide law regarding organic materials, Senate Bill 1383. My name is Suhey Mojica, and I'm the Senior Program Coordinator at San Pablo Economic Corporation. Again, welcome. Today, you will learn about what this new law means to your business, including multifamily properties within 5 units or more. The City of San Pablo is adopting an ordinance to include these requirements, and businesses that do not comply may be subject to penalties. Our presenter will discuss more about this new law and resources available to help you comply. But before we get started, this webinar is being recorded so others can watch later. A recording will be available on our website at www.sanpabloedc.org. All participants are muted. All questions are welcome, so please use the Q&A feature if you have a question. We will answer them at the end of the webinar. Just to give you introduction of what San Pablo Economic Development Corporation is, it is a full-service organization for economic growth in Contra Costa County. We are here to help you establish the critical connections you need to succeed in our diverse business ecosystem. San Pablo EDC also provides a broad range of affordable housing opportunities and services to enable low and moderate income residents to gain better housing and financial stability. We also offer various workforce programs from career training, funding, childcare funding for working residents, on-the-job training, and much more. Again, please visit our website or you can give me a call. I will have my contact information at the end of this webinar. And here is just an overview of some of the offerings that we offer here at San Pablo EDC for businesses, anything from business development to access to capital. And here's just a tool here at San Pablo EDC. We're here to connect your business with resources. This slide right here is actually a roadmap that we have put together for businesses. These are steps that we recommend that you follow to help your transition into opening your doors as a business, making it easier. We have this also available on our website, or you can definitely contact me and I can provide you with a copy of it. We do provide other training and resources that you need. So please visit our website to see if there's anything that can help your business in terms of, starting it, managing your business, or growing your business. So with no further ado, we want to thank our partner, City of San Pablo. This webinar was possible with the help of their partnership. So we are very grateful for their collaboration with San Pablo EDC. Our presenter today is Karina Sampian. Karina has a Bachelor of science degree in biology and environmental science from Occidental College and a master's in environmental management degree from Duke University. She has worked for the City of San Pablo for 18 years as an environmental program analyst for the city. She manages various programs to ensure the city is in compliance with state and federal environmental laws, including solid waste and stormwater regulations. So welcome, Karina. The platform is all yours. I'm going to stop sharing so you can share your screen.
Fantastic. Let me share my screen. Thank you so much to the ADC and SUMA for inviting me today to present on this very important topic. So let's see if that's up. All righty. So yes, just a quick thing. So yes, we have a new state law ordinance. It's called Senate Bill 1383, and it's going to go into effect starting January 1 of 2022. So a few months away. And I'm here today to kind of summarize the law and also provide some information to help your business comply with this new law. So just an overview of what Senate Bill 1383 does. Overall, there are two components to it. Really, the state is required to reduce organic waste disposed by 75% by 2025. And when I'm talking about organic waste is defined as food waste, green waste, wood waste, and even some fibers like cardboard and paper. So it's pretty much what in the residential world we put into our green bin, our green container. So that's the first requirement. The second requirement is that large businesses are also required to recover food that's going to the landfill, and actually the ones that are edible, divert that outside of the landfill, to give to people in need. So those are the two requirements. So there's environmental impacts as well as social impacts for this law. So from an environmental perspective, there's two reasons. Solid waste. From the solid waste perspective, organics, if they're diverted from the landfill, are then turned into compost. There's a picture on the left that shows good quality compost. Compost is very valuable because gardeners as well as farmers can use this resource. So by taking it out of the landfill and processing it as compost, it becomes a valuable environmental resource. Also, from a point of view of a climate change point of view, when organics break down in the landfill, they emit methane gas. Methane gas is a greenhouse gas, which is about 70% more potent than carbon dioxide, which usually comes out of the exhaust pipe of our cars. Since landfills emit 21% of the state's methane production, by doing this law, we're reducing the methane that would be emitted from the landfill. There we go. Finally, the edible food component, which I was mentioning before, is also something that has a societal impact. There's an estimate that 1 in 5 children in California go to sleep hungry every night, and we are throwing away 6 million tons of food that could actually be edible into our landfill. So this is food that is being wasted that can be diverted to feed those people in need. So SB 1383 has 6 main requirements, and they're big components, and within each there's a lot. I'm going to focus on the first 3 because those are the ones that really pertain to the business community. So the first one shown in the first diagram right here is providing organics collection and service. So this means all businesses are required to have organics service. So right now, most businesses have trash and recycling, but organics is going to be the third part that's going to be required. The second one I mentioned is establishing edible food recovery program. So this is, I'll go into it in more detail, but this is first tailored toward the large grocery stores, and then slowly it's going to come down to also restaurants. Education and outreach is a third component, and this is not just the city doing education outreach, but it also requires businesses to provide their own outreach to their tenants and their customers. The other 3 are really intended for city requirements, so I'm not going to go into it, but I'm happy to answer questions if you have any questions about that. So one of the big requirements of the SB 1383 law is that cities, municipalities like cities and counties are required to adopt an ordinance by January 1 of 2022. And that's what the city has been doing. For the last 3 months, we've been developing an ordinance. And the reason for the ordinance is the law requires us to pass an ordinance so then we can monitor all the accounts and make sure that all the businesses have the organic service. And if businesses do not comply, then the city is required by this law to enforce and charge penalties. So in order to do some outreach as part of this ordinance, we've sent letters to all impacted stakeholders, which are businesses and multifamily unit dwellings. We've sent letters. EDC has been very helpful in doing e-blasts on our behalf. And then we're hosting this webinar as another way of getting the information about the ordinance out. So the compliance responsibility doesn't only fall on the city. So as a municipality, the city and the counties are in charge of making sure the whole law is implemented. However, this law has specific sections where businesses and multifamily complexes also need to comply. So the first one I mentioned was the mandatory organics composting. So as a business, starting January 1, if you do not have organic service, you must either start service by calling Republic Services, which is they're our local hauler, or if let's say you have a landscaper who does your landscaping, you can have it self-haul to a approved facility, but you have to show proof that you're doing that. And businesses, so this will be for restaurants mostly, if you have an indoor self-serve area where you generate recycling and compostable items, then you must provide indoor bins. As a courtesy, the city is working with Republic Services, and Republic Services will be providing free indoor bins to any restaurant that requests it. We also have posters and flyers you can post up that we're happy to give you guys for free. So as part of this requirement, there are limited waivers that businesses can apply for. We're working on coming up with an application for waivers, but they are very limited. So I'll go over the 3 types of waivers. If you're a business or a multifamily complex that generates more than 2 cubic yards of solid waste is trash, recycling, and compost. However, you only generate 20 gallons of organic waste a week, so it's a little amount, then you might be able to get a waiver not to require organics at your facility. Conversely, let's say you're a small business and you only generate less than 2 cubic yards of solid waste. Again, solid waste is trash, recycling, and compost, all 3 of them. And as a result of that, you're also only generating 10 gallons of organics a week. Then for that reason, you can apply for a waiver and you will not need to have an organics container. The third reason is if you're, let's say, a multifamily complex and there's no room for you to put extra carts. So that's the space constraint could be considered a waiver. So those are the 3 waivers that the law allows us to give to businesses. The second requirement is edible food recovery. As I mentioned, it starts off with 2 tiers. The first tier, which is known as tier 1, I explained it down at the table, are the large supermarkets and the grocery stores. And for them, the requirement deadline is January 1, 2022. And what those entities have to do is they have to have agreements with food recovery organizations, such as a food bank, to get the food that hasn't expired yet to those organizations for distribution to people who need the food. So this is something that a lot of large supermarkets and grocery stores already do. The difference is that the law requires that there be formalized agreements. So the city's responsibility is to identify who the tier 1 generators are and to work with them to make sure that they have formal agreements. So right now, a preliminary list of tier 1 generators in San Pablo, we have about 7 of them. And they're the big ones like the Rayleighs and the Las Montañas. So the big supermarkets and grocery stores. Now, come January 1, 2024, the tier changes. So tier 2 includes things like hotels, large restaurants, event venues, even things like, big events like a 4th of July event. Those would then kick in come January 1, 2024. So the city hasn't gotten a list of the tier 2 yet, but we'll be working on that in the coming years. The third component of the law is education and outreach. The city, as a municipality, is working with Republic Services, our garbage company, our solid waste provider, as well as RecycleMore. RecycleMore is an agency that serves all of West County cities, and they help the cities comply with various solid waste laws. So we're partnering with, the 3 entities are partnering together, and we'll be providing outreach. I've included on the slide a picture of a newsletter, and these are newsletters that get sent to all account holders, and we've been sending information about this law in the newsletter for the last couple of months, and we'll continue doing that. But here's what impacts the businesses. So businesses and multifamily complexes are also required to do their own education. So annually, businesses are required to notify all their tenants, so including new tenants that come in, about what goes in what. So for example, there would have to be flyers that show, similar to the flyer on the right, that food waste, your landscaping waste can go all in the organics container, but your metal and your glass have to go in the recycling container. So having posters up and signs up in areas where those containers exist is also part of the requirement. And again, the city and Republic Services is happy. We're always happy to help get those posters to you. So this is something that we all learned when we were younger. How does a bill become a law and a law become a regulation? So the actual SB 1383 was adopted in September of 2016, but there's a long time for the rulemaking to happen for it to become implementable. So we've been working the last couple of years on getting this into the regulation that it is. It was adopted. The regulation itself wasn't adopted until 2020. So since then, cities have been busy trying to get everything underway, because the big deadline that we have coming up is January 1, 2022. That's the center red rectangle right there. And that's when all of the requirements take effect. And by that time is when cities are required to have our ordinances. Fortunately, as you can see, the next thing on the timeline is the orange rectangle to the right is January 1, 2024. That's actually when cities have to start enforcing. So that's good news for businesses. That means that the city has 2 years to work with you to try to get you up to speed on the law. So we will actually not start enforcing, which means we won't send a notice or give you a citation until 2024. And that hopefully will give businesses enough time to comply, because we obviously don't want to take enforcement action against anybody. We just want to make sure everybody's complying, and we're here to help. So our next steps are the ordinance that I mentioned is going to the City Council next Monday night for consideration for approval. The council will hear the ordinance, they'll make any changes or have any comments they want to bring forth, and then it won't be adopted until the second meeting in November. If it is adopted, then we will start working with our stakeholders, our business community, and our multi-unit complexes, so that we can begin the work of being in compliance starting in January 1. So that concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to take questions at this time.
So I do have one question right now. It says, where can I find the information in regards to the new law, and for businesses and multifamily complexes, in terms of where to get that information to make sure that they're getting ready and that they're complying with what will be implemented in 2024?
So let me do this. Can I put something in the chat?
Yes.
Maybe let me stop trying. I'll put the I'll put a website. There we go. So RecycleMore, which is the entity I mentioned, they're a public entity that help the city comply with laws. They have a website set up already that has all the requirements for businesses and multifamily. So I put in the link to websites, one for business specifically and one for multifamily. So that's one place to get it. Obviously, you can contact me directly. You can email me if you have specific questions, or call me, and I'm happy to go over the specific questions with you. Okay,
perfect. And I think that was the only question I saw in here. So for everyone that's here or that will probably be watching this pre-recorded webinar, we do have Karina's information here if you have a specific question to probably your business, just to make sure if it's something that you're not sure if you're supposed to, if you're in that list or not. I'm pretty sure she'll be able to answer that. Her email address is on here, and also her phone number. We also, I believe you have my information here from San Pablo EDC. If you want to get a hold of me or Karina, we're available. If I'm not able to answer your question, I can connect you to Karina if I don't have the information available to provide you to answer your question. So if there are any more questions, I think we've kind of already and we're come to the end of this presentation. And I do want to thank our presenter, Karina, from the City of San Pablo, for sharing great information and resources. And thank you for everyone who joined us today. Again, you have both of our contact information. So if there was something that you didn't want to, ask today, please feel free to email us and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions after this presentation. Again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Karina. We really appreciate your time. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their day. So thank you and bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.